Hi there, this is Leif Gregerson again, author of Through the Withering Storm, which is available on Amazon.com and Smashwords.com. Lately I took a fresh step in my writing, and I did some more advertising. This is something you might want to consider because it's very good to target your audience and do low-cost advertising. In about 10 minutes I sat down and very simply and easily set up a Facebook ad. And it's been sent to a lot of people, but not many clicks, which means that I'm getting an idea of how to present my work. That's number one. Number two, I'm promoting it. And number three, it's very inexpensive. Now, something I think is important for writers. Let's see if I can get this properly. One of the first things you're going to want to do is try and get your name out, especially if one day you're looking at getting a major work of fiction or nonfiction printed. Get your name out, newspapers, magazines, and online. When I started out, I would send my stuff to anybody. This is an example. This is me without hair. This is something I sent to my local paper. They didn't pay me much. They paid me $50, which is not bad. This is another one. Basically what I did was I just wrote good advice about different subjects, and they had a special column where people wrote in, and I did it that way. Now I just wanted to give you a quick example of a poem I've written. This one I wrote recently, a Halloween poem. I can feel the cool air rustling restless trees. Lying back, it feels so good to listen to that breeze. I had another hard one, a day to write about. It makes me sad I can't sit down and drink a pint of stout. How nice it would be to sit and chat the night away, but I must get back to bed to be awake to work another day. 30 years ago I counted the hours and waited for so long. I thought wasting time inside in school would end, but I was wrong. Yes, I'm now grown up, or at least I'm grown enough to work and sweat and act so tough, pretending I don't care. But really deep inside me, I'm young and waiting to stop having to work while I'm hating all the things that are so ingratiating, so I can stop working one day to start vegetating. What does all this mean? If I were doing this for someone and I knew it would one day be done, I could stand this heat hotter than the sun, and maybe even call it fun, and run my race as though it must be won, but I only do this for myself. So here it is, Halloween. I am wearing soldier green, in the loft sitting in between my wall of books and computer screen, wishing that I was James Dean and Natalie Woods was my loving queen, and that time was on my side. Well, that's enough of me flogging my own work for now. Now, I wanted to stress a few things in this lesson. One thing is very important to write an outline. A detailed outline as you can. Just about the whole story is done in that. And really the outline, the character sketches, I mentioned in the previous video that it's important to have character sketches for all, even your minor characters. Because you want to make them all believable. It's very important, whether you're writing nonfiction or fiction, to make things believable. Even in nonfiction, you can make mistakes or leave things out, and people think, well, why would the guy do this? You have to have a logic to everything. And the second thing on my list here that I have trouble showing is try not to deviate from the outline. Now, when I put things on the board here, it's because it might be a little helpful to have it written down for later and for future reference. But now the problem I run into sometimes is I'll sort of get going with the writing, and I'll get into it and I'll get interested in it, and then I'll sort of play with it a little bit. And when you deviate from the outline, you're sort of forgetting that, well, okay, well, I'm going to make this guy do this. And then 2 chapters down, you go back to make him do something else, and wait a minute, I can't have him do that. He doesn't have a driver's license, or he's missing his right arm, or something like that. And so if you are going to make a change, think it through. Look to your outline. Some people wonder how writers get their ideas. Some writers joke around and say, "Oh, well, I subscribe to an idea service." But the funny thing is, there actually is online. I wish I had the web address for you, but there actually is online an idea generator, and you can probably just Google idea generator or something close to that, and it will give you examples of plots of characters of different things. This happened to Mary. It'll sort of jump it around by computer. But let's look at this last bit here. This is something recommended by a very experienced writer. Hold that up there long enough so you can maybe grab a pen. This experienced writer will borrow snippets of ideas here and there. Now, if you borrow a whole idea and you make a novel about a theme park where dinosaurs come to life, you are going to get sued for plagiarism, and you're not going to get very far in your writing. But if you take a few ideas, like maybe you take the idea of an adventurer who's also a scientist, and put him in somewhere where time changes, but don't send him back to dinosaurs. Just make it so they're not recognizable, but you can. I always thought. I had a friend, unfortunately, once. He had an idea for a book. He wanted to write about a medieval Sherlock Holmes, and actually, that's been done. If I can recall, I believe it was called The Name of the Rose by Umberto Eco. And I loaned him the book, and he read it, and so he unfortunately had to abandon his idea. But I don't know if he used another idea, but he's working as a professor now, so he's probably quite too busy to sit down and write books. But you borrow ideas. Even in magazine article writing and newspaper writing, like this one here, I don't have that much creativity for nonfiction, plain newspaper writing. And I'm not a reporter. I'm not trained to go out and take pictures, although I am learning about photography, and I'll mention why that's important later. But basically, one thing I did was I borrowed from myself that article about the smoke addiction. I sort of revamped it. I didn't even look at it again, but I just took the idea of smoke addiction and updated it and added in new information. And one of the things that happened since I wrote that article was that I started smoking again, except since then I've quit for 7 years. So I was able to write that out. And but if you recall in the earlier lecture, course section number 2, I mentioned the writer's handbook, and I can sit for hours and go through it and basically look at it's a very handy book. That's where I got the Canadian Health website, so I could send articles to. But basically what you do is you come up with an idea. You don't have to write it, but you just come up with an idea. You look for a magazine that'll fit. You do your research, and you do a little bit of research, so you're not totally blind, but you don't have to write it yet. You send it to the magazine, and usually they will respond in short order, and they'll tell you if it's a good fit or not. And if it's a good fit, well, great. My first article I sold to a magazine was $250. My second one, $300, and it goes good like that. But as far as your book goes, basically, I don't have much time for more tips today, but basically what's going to happen is you're going to want to write that outline. You're going to want to practice in as many forms as you can, get your name out, and I guess that's about it for today. If you have any questions, feel free to email me. I will try and include my email at the ending part of this session. Thanks.